Hello, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. Well, it was an exciting week in Cleveland Browns football. Not really. I started doing this by writing articles for my blog, dogpoundsouth.net. And my sole purpose was to look at my favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, from an outsider perspective, away from the noise of the Cleveland media. So when I was invited to do this podcast, I decided, well, I'll do the same thing. I had, if a lot of you don't know, I first got on the internet in 1992, made friends with people who now are involved in sports and different sports, baseball, football, and they tell me things. Why? I don't know. I'm a good listener, I guess. And they also know I won't say who they are because none of your business who they are, but they're reliable. I trust them. So to watch the Cleveland media just spiral as we get towards the draft, 3 weeks from Thursday, can't come soon enough. I just wish the NFL would go ahead and just, hey, let's release the schedule. We can talk. That would kill time for a week at least. They'd have something else to talk about. Well, we hit a new low this week when Bruce Drennan. Now, you got to realize, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. My family moved here in 1967 when I was 9 years old. So longtime Cleveland media personalities, I know them only from what I hear currently on the radio. The only reason I listen to 850, first of all, I can't stand the other guys on the different channels. I'm sorry. They're abrasive. They're annoying. And I got work to do. But I listen for two reasons: to keep my desktop computer awake, so I'm constantly not logging in, especially during tax season. My program's up, everything's ready to go. And two, in case there's breaking news. Because this time of year, I don't spend hours on social media. I may look at it occasionally, but I got more important things to do. So when Bruce Drennan said that this week, that he knew someone told him that they had a reliable source inside the Cleveland front office and that they were going to try and trade for Dak Prescott. Well, first of all, as I've said many times, the Cleveland front office doesn't leak. This is not the front office of John Dorsey, who did things on purpose to find a leak. This isn't the unqualified front offices in the past who just were a clown show. So this front office does not leak. You have to listen to their interviews. The last time they all talked was around the time of the combine. You got to go back to those to listen. All right, more on that in a minute. So, and second, with this announcement, and I had forgotten in January that we'd already been through this. I've been doing tax returns. My head is just mush right now. But after I saw the post, I got to thinking about it, and there's no way. Too much dead cap. I mean, the Cowboys would have to redo so many contracts. I mean, everybody's contract, and that's not going to happen. So it was utter nonsense. But for 45 minutes, Brown's Twitter was getting excited and talking about it. And then the radio stations came in and they started talking about it. It got the desired effect that Drennan wanted. He got reposted. He made a little money. Everybody was posting the video. So he got what he wanted, a little attention and some cash. That's all they're doing this for right now. Like I said, I listen to 850 because they're bearable, and also noon Central Time. I like listening to Nathan Zagura, and so Cleveland Browns Daily. So they have great insight. They're in the building. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. here in Nashville, you gotta rely on something. We're not bombarded down here like you are in Cleveland, constantly with sports personalities who constantly give you their opinion, not their analysis. So this front office, and I've done a couple articles on Andrew Berry early in his career, prior to him, I mean, his first year, second year. Like I said, they don't leak. They don't do smoke screens. They don't do deceptions. Right now, they do not know who the pick is at number 2, simply for the main fact that Tennessee Titans haven't picked who their number 1 pick is. If the Titans start a contract negotiation with their draft pick a couple days before the draft, then we'll know. Then the Browns will know, okay, these are our options. So, number 2 pick. Everybody is going crazy over anything that anyone says. And they're trying to use their pretzel logic to get their guy. Let's take a quick break, and we'll continue this after that. So we're all using pretzel logic. Most people are using pretzel logic. There's still a lot of people out there that, are thinking, they know what the Browns do, the front office does. They always go for value. And if you've got the number 2 overall pick in the draft, you've got to get maximum value. It's that simple. So the only person talking is Myles Garrett. And we've heard from Myles twice concerning the quarterback. The second time has gotten a lot of attention because everybody just assumed when he said that any team that's going to go for it needs a quarterback, and that's young, can learn, and is willing to be patient with the process. So everybody goes, oh, they're taking a quarterback at number 2. Not necessarily. He said that they had to be patient with the process. That could be a quarterback taken first pick in the second round. That could be a quarterback taken that they attempt to get back in the first round and draft. I have always said that they've shown interest in Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. They are high on Cam Ward and Abdul Carter. Other than the unicorn comment that Andrew Berry made about Travis Hunter, hadn't heard anything about him. So you pretty much kind of get the idea of what they're thinking. So also, like I said, you don't draft a quarterback just to draft a quarterback. And I know a lot of people will go, oh, well, they need a quarterback. Well, yeah, they do need a quarterback. But do you draft the best quarterback in a bad quarterback draft? That happened with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. They were the best quarterbacks in those 2 quarterback drafts. You go value. What's the best value? The best value is Abdul Carter. Could be Travis Hunter if they tell him you're going to be a wide receiver, you're going to keep you at wide receiver, you're going to learn how to be a wide receiver, and then you mix in some plays for him that Kevin Stefanski loves to do. So commit to one thing. He can't do both. I'm telling you right now, he cannot do both in the modern NFL. And besides, if you sign him to do both and he gets hurt, you got 2 holes on your roster in 2 of the most important positions, wide receiver and defensive back. So what is the quarterback situation? What is Myles Garrett talking about? Well, like I said, I think he's talking about they told him they're going to find a young quarterback in this draft, regardless of what pick it is. They probably told him if the draft falls the way we think it'll fall, and then through the entire month of January from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., that's all they were doing at Berea, running mock drafts every day, 12 hours a day, just running mock drafts, every situation possible, every situation that could happen. They were running mock drafts. They have their board. All NFL teams have their boards, their priorities. Boards are set. Players aren't going up and down the boards. Oh, you hear this guy's dropping and this guy's rising. No, not with NFL teams or not. Now, they may be with people who do mock drafts, and that's fine. If you think a player is moving up and down, I'll tell you, man, everybody is seeing Jackson Dart, and they're all going, wow, he's rising up the board. I hate to tell you this. NFL teams knew about Jackson Dart back in January. So it's no surprise to them who Jackson Dart is. So what is the quarterback? What is Myles Garrett getting to? Well, in my opinion, and I'm not going to try to logic this, I'm just listening to what he says. Their plan is to have a veteran quarterback. And for some reason, this Kirk Cousins thing will not go away. Now, why was he in Ohio? Why was he out in the suburbs of Cleveland? He's meeting with friends. One of his good friends is Jack Conklin. So he's traveling. It's the off season. He met with him, seeing some old friends, players that are on the Browns or players that live in the area. That's it. That's why he was there. The Browns brass wasn't there. So that's simple. But this trade thing will not go away. I follow Benjamin Albright, who's a national reporter. He primarily reports on the Denver Broncos, but he's a very good national reporter, and he's right a lot. He's not your Albert Breer. He's not your Jason Lloyd. These guys carry a grudge for some reason against the Cleveland Browns. He doesn't. He's honest. And if he hears something, he will, and he's able to repeat it, he will. Someone asked him about Kirk Cousins and the Cleveland Browns, and he said, still could happen. But if it does, it's going to happen during the draft. And that makes perfect sense if you think about it. Kirk Cousins wants assurance that the team he goes to doesn't draft a young quarterback high. So if the Titans draft Cam Ward, like I think they're going to do, they can't turn around and say, hey, why don't you come in here and be our bridge quarterback? And he'll say, no, I don't want to get into that situation again. He just went through that situation at Atlanta. So he wants assurances that he will start the entire year, build up his stats so he can get that one last contract. He doesn't want to bounce around. He doesn't want to be a Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson. He doesn't want to be a Sam Darnold or any of these guys. He wants to go another place. He's getting up there in age. And don't let his play in Atlanta scare you away. I know a lot of people will reason to make their argument to take Sanders at 2. They will say, well, he sucked in Atlanta. Out of 48 starting quarterbacks last year, he was ranked 20th. So that's all this team needs. They build the defense. Like I've been saying, fix the offensive line, fix the defensive line, get some running backs, and then a top 15 quarterback will get you to the playoffs. But you got to fix the offensive line, and they've started to do that. And you've got to fix the defensive line. They've started to do that. So that's all you really need to make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs, who knows what happens? Now, is Kirk Cousins going to take this team to the Super Bowl? I don't know. We're not to that stage yet. But just my final words to you today are, Don't let these people in Cleveland pollute your mind with the garbage they're spilling. They're just trying to get you to click. They're just trying to get you to click in social media on anything they say, watching their videos, listening and repeating what they say. It's all about the money to these people. They don't really know who the Browns are going to take at number 2. Nobody does. The Browns, I've heard people say, well, they love Cam Ward. No. You put the word love Cam Ward in that sentence. Everybody I've talked to said they were high on Cam Ward. There is a difference between love and high on someone. Big difference. But you see, you can insert one word into what your opinion to convince someone it's analysis, and it'll change the whole perspective of what you said. So listen carefully. Don't listen to Tony Rizzo and Tony Grossi if you want salary cap advice, because they know nothing about the salary cap. Nothing. I know more than your average fan, and I follow Jack Duffin. If you want to know something about salary cap, follow Jack Duffin. Guy's an expert. He eats, sleeps, and drinks the Browns salary cap. So pick who you want to listen to. And, I know there are people out there who are just going to repeat whatever the radio station says or whatever the personality says because, they're invested in it in some way. They're regulars. At 850, they're RBSers. That's like me saying I'm a Browns analyst. I'm not a Browns analyst. I'm a podcaster. I'm a guy who writes articles. I give my opinion, and that's about it. This is all opinion right now. But I do know they're high on Cam Ward and they're high on Abdul Carter, and they've done their research on Jackson Dart and Jackson Milroe. That I know. That I've been told. So I will believe that. They have a plan at quarterback. It's just they're not going to tell you what it is. And if you go back and listen to those 2 interviews by Myles Garrett, listen carefully. Free your mind on who you want them to pick with the number 2 pick. Just get that out of your head and just open your mind up and just listen. And you'll hear the plan. Oh, and by the way, they're not trading up to number 1. Anybody tells you the Browns are trading up to number 1, they're lying right to your face. The Tennessee Titans want multiple first-round picks. They want the first pick this year, and they want the first pick next year. I heard they told the Giants they want the first pick in 26 and 27. So that does not sound like a serious team who wants to trade. It really doesn't. That's way too much. The difference between 3, 2, and 1 is maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick. That's it. If you look at the charts, the trade charts, that's it. And, if Tennessee finds somebody desperate enough to do it, and it's not going to be the Cleveland Browns because they're not desperate, then fine. Some team wants to ruin its future because of that. Anyway, if they select Sanders at number 2 and he doesn't work out, they're stuck with him for 2 years. And guess what? Everybody says, well, if he's not the greatest, we'll keep trying. Well, if you've traded your first round, if they go up and get Cam Ward, you've traded your first round pick next year. How are you going to get another quarterback without a first round pick? Think about this. It's called logic. It's called being a realist. All right, everybody, this has been enough of my rant for today. I am going to be very calm this week. And if the people on the radio get a little nutty, which they do every day, I can't take Tony Rizzo screaming every day, I want my quarterback. Well, not a good quarterback draft for you to get your franchise quarterback. None of these guys should start. None of them. So what are you going to do? They take Sanders. He's not ready to start. You think that's what Myles Garrett signed up for them to draft Sanders and for him to sit and for them to start Carson Wentz or Kenny Pickett? Sure, he got sure, he got a huge contract. But do you think that's why he came back? For that? Because he's not ready to start. Sanders isn't taking you to the promised land. He's not. It's not there. And if they don't take him, that tells me everything that Kevin Stefanski didn't feel he would work in his system. And that says a lot. People complain about Kevin Stefanski all the time, but let me just say that Jacoby Brissett had his best year ever under Stefanski. Joe Flacco looked rejuvenated. You can say everything you want to say about his opponents. The year before he came here, he was terrible. The year after he left here, he was terrible. So they won a game with P.J. Walker. They won games with P.J. Walker and DTR in 23. So if he doesn't feel, if Stefanski doesn't feel that Sanders can run his offense, then I respect that because he knows more about it than I do. And he knows more about it than you do. So just take it for what it is. All right, that's it for my rant on the Cleveland media. Everybody, have a great day. This has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I would encourage you to check out Hemisphere Coffee. Having owned a coffee shop and having a great relationship with my roaster, he has great connections with where he gets the beans. He knows the people he's getting the beans from, and he can put his reputation behind it. That's what these people do at Hemisphere Coffee. They shake the hands of the farmer. So everybody have a great day. Thank you for following, listening, subscribing, and watching. Just remember, we're Browns fans just like you. And for God's sakes, I wish this draft would hurry up and get here. Come on, NFL, release the schedule. We can talk about something else for at least a week. Everybody have a great day and go Browns.